The Hustle Share podcast is brought to you by Payoneer, a digital payment platform that provides online money transfer. With its fast, flexible, secure, and low-cost solutions, businesses across the world can pay and get paid globally. Visit Payoneer.com now. Also by Chatbot PH. Save time and effort for your business. Automate how your team does customer service, marketing, and key redundant processes, all by using a chatbot. Invest in your own chatbot now and use AI to run your business. Go to www.chatbot.ph.
It's really difficult starting a new business. I mean, it doesn't have any name recall. Nobody knows you that you're doing that, and it's a lot of hard work alone.
Welcome to Hustle Share, the podcast that features the daily grinds of unique hustlers around the world to show not our differences, but that our hustles are very much alike. Now here's your host, Ronster Bae-Pyong.
Welcome to episode 47 of the Hustle Share podcast. My name is Ronster, and I'm your host. And this episode is powered by Payoneer, a digital payment platform that provides online money transfer, empowering businesses around the world to grow globally. We are a proud affiliate of the Podcast Network Asia, but before we begin, I'd like to remind you that this podcast has adult language, so make sure that there's no kids around when you're listening to this. Because today we are gonna be talking about ice cream. And today we have Mr. Paco Magsaysay to talk about the hustle behind Carmen's Best Ice Cream. And today we have a very interesting hustler because Paco did not have any knowledge of making ice cream when he started his career out. As a matter of fact, he started out as a salesman back in the States. Paco will also share how it was like being educated in the States and how that prepared him for the next hustles that he had to do while doing his first jobs back in the US. Paco will also share how it was like working for his father when he came back to the Philippines and how he was still able to instill the mindset of an entrepreneur and also garner the respect of his father's employees while working for him. And this is where it gets interesting because now Paco will share how Carmen's Best started out and how he was able to scale that later on until the point where he had to choose and do Carmen's Best full time. And as usual, I'd like to remind you to take down notes because Paco is going to share a lot of things with us in this episode, especially his techniques in sales, marketing, and a whole lot more that you can apply on your own hustle. So if you're ready to learn the hustle behind Carmen's Best Ice Cream, let's begin this episode right now. Welcome to the latest episode of the Hustle Share podcast. We are down south today, so before we start, I'd like to do a shout out to the venue partner that made this happen. It was literally last minute. Thank you to Launchpad co-working down here in Alabang. They have two offices. If not for this, we'd probably be doing it in a very noisy place. But thank you again, Gia, for letting this happen. Thank you very much. And today we're talking about ice cream. I love ice cream, right? So we're talking to a very good pioneer of a famous brand here in the Philippines. Obviously, Carmen's Best Ice Cream. Welcome to the show, Paco Magsaysay of Carmen's Best.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you for having me here.
No, thank you. Because just a little bit of a background of how I knew Paco. I actually don't know him. And I was listening to the Adulting with Joy Spring podcast. And he was a guest. I'm like, wow, this is a super amazing thing. But I wanted to do a deep dive. Right? Shout out to Joy Spring. I need to work with you soon. I want to provide a deeper grind of what that is. This podcast galore for you now. How recent was that interview?
I think it was about 3 weeks ago, 2 to 3 weeks ago.
Wow. So there you go. Ice cream galore. More people talking about this. But Paco, before we get started and I run my mouth for too much again. Paco, what's your hustle?
I make ice cream. That's I started the business in 2011.
2011.
Yeah.
It's within the decade. We're at the tail end of the decade and whatnot. But let me just do a backtrack. I always bring my time machine with me. Just imagine we're in a time machine and whatnot, right? We go back because hustles are not made overnight. You know, some people, they always just see the end result when there's something tangible that can be done. But it's always a lot of work, tears, sweat, whatever liquids you want to think of, right? How is this built? And I wanted to know all the way back to how you started out. Paco, tell us exactly what was the first hustles that you made? Were you really a businessman or an entrepreneur raised? How did this journey start?
Well, you could go back to as far as when I was 12 years old. I was
12.
already working as a gas boy attendant.
Where?
At our family gas stations.
Wow.
So I would work morning shift when I was 12 years old, and like pumping gas and
Got it.
cleaning cars, wiping the windshield. So
Right.
even when I was young, I enjoyed working.
Right.
I
And
liked it.
A stupid question, but I'm just as naive as possible. But are you coming from the clan that also does the shipping lines? Technically in the Philippines, it's primarily
Yeah, same
same
well,
family.
Yeah, but we don't have any ownership in that business.
Exactly. But to have that kind of mentality of entrepreneurship and whatnot, that's a big boom. And I've talked to several guests on Hustle Share where it's the same. They've always been exposed very early. But when you were doing that at 12 years old, morning shift, you were barely elementary, high school.
Yeah.
What was the thinking? Like, did you hate doing that, or like, well, why? It was like, it's like, dude, I should be playing right now. Why am I here?
No, I wanted to do it. I mean, it was something that I wasn't the type that hung out with other kids, or I didn't really do a lot of. I mean, I played at night,
Okay.
when everybody was awake. Because
Nice.
I always wake up early. I mean, even
Okay.
when I was younger than 12, I remember getting up
Wow.
like at 5:30 in the morning.
Wow.
So my shift for the gas station was 6 to 12, 6 a.m. to 12 noon. And then you're so young, you can just take a 30-minute nap, and then
Right.
you're awake the whole night. So you're playing with
Yes.
your friends in the afternoon,
Got it.
playing patintero or whatever.
Right.
So I didn't think that I missed out on anything. I was doing something I enjoyed. I had spare money.
Okay.
So I was meeting people in the gas station. So,
Okay.
yeah.
But those early grinds or those early hustles, what did that instill to your mindset? That you can always come up with, okay, we're pretty comfortable, but
Yeah.
you had to go through that. And what was implanted in your mind by doing that?
Well, I think it's important that even at a young age, let's say you have kids, that you show them that you got to work.
Right.
You can't just, coast and do nothing, or
Right.
wake up at 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. I mean, for me, it's not a good thing for me.
True, absolutely.
Yeah, so even at the young age, I was training my kids to
Wow.
work. Yeah.
So are they also the one doing ice cream during
Yeah.
summer or whatever they have free time?
Well, they're helping me now.
Nice.
They're already finished with school. They've
Wow.
graduated, yeah.
No way, you look younger than you have graduates. No, I
all
swear.
my 3 kids are graduate already.
No way.
Yeah. So Jaime, Mikey, and Carmen. Carmen's my youngest. I
Shout out
named
to you.
business
It's
after
Carmen's best.
Yeah.
Shout out to.
She just
Laura.
graduated last May. So
Wow.
I'm done with my parental obligation of putting
No more
the kids through
PTAs.
school. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
I'm done. Yeah.
So let's go back into the hustle of doing that. And early on, were there really mini hustles that you had to do growing up, like in high school, college, and whatnot?
Yeah, high school I was working at a stationery store.
Stationary.
Yeah, I lived in the US. I grew up
Oh
there.
wow. Which
And
part?
then Texas, Houston, Texas.
Texas.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're a Rockets fan for
Yeah.
sure. There you go.
And then when I went to college, I worked for UPS, United Parcel
Yeah.
Service. So
Wow.
I worked with them for 4 years
Okay.
as a part-time worker.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a 4-year stint, and it was good. It helped me pay for college.
How different is the grind being a student? I mean, that's normal in the US to have a side job and study at the same time, right? But what also, I mean, there's no household help and whatnot. You gotta grind and all that. What was that experience like, especially in further implanting the concept of you gotta work for your shit per se?
Well, it's when you take college there, your load is not like the load here where it's 18 to 21 units per semester. There, the load there is anywhere from 12 to 15 or maximum 17 units per semester. So you have a little bit more free time. And normally, in that free time, people will do part-time work.
Or party the hell out of it.
So, party the hell.
So choose your battles per se. Right?
I chose to work.
Got it. Okay. And the UPS, what were you doing in UPS? So again, it's pretty easy to digest, but I'm pretty sure there's little intricacies that in terms of details that we need to know. Like, what are those things? Like, is it attention to detail? You can't fuck the parcel up and whatnot.
Well, when I started in UPS, it was in the early 90s. There was no e-commerce yet.
Wow.
So the number of packages that we were handling was not the same volume as what you would get now.
Right.
When you bump into a Lazada or a Shopee delivery guy that has 80 deliveries,
wow,
in their motorcycle, diba?
But snail mail was king back then.
Snail mail was, but it was a lot of commercial packaging, business to business type packages that we had to deal with. There was a lot of Land's End and a lot of mga mail order. Mga 1-800 numbers.
QVC.
Yeah, QVC. You would call a 1-800 number, or you would mail in the catalog, the middle part of the catalog. Then
Tupperware, whatever.
Yeah, you fill out the form and then So it was very analog at that time. Yeah.
What was the hardest part doing that? Going back, because this is physical work. Did you drive around, or were you like in a bike or whatnot?
Well, of course, like during Christmas, we would deal with a lot of Christmas gifts,
yes, volume would be crazy.
Mga pound cake and all these fruit cakes that you would get, and so the volume during Christmas would be a lot at that time. No, it was already a lot. But this was, of course, prior to e-commerce. So during Christmas, it would be we would have to work a lot longer than usual.
Wow!
And we have exams in December.
Yeah. And what were you taking up back then?
Marketing. I was taking
marketing. So it was really right in line into like business and marketing and whatnot.
My is business. I mean, I'm really business. In fact, I didn't even take culinary. So I just went into ICU.
That's why. And you mentioned that in the Joy Spring podcast. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Right?
That was my major was marketing, and then I just kept on working, And even when I got out of college, when I couldn't find a job, the economy wasn't so good at that time. I was working part-time.
Got it. So that was crazy. Now, after that, did you go back here in the Philippines? What did you do?
I came back after a few years. I worked for a company called MCI. Microwave Communications Incorporated.
Microwave.
So this was when AT&T was disbanded and long distance was no longer a monopoly.
Right.
So MCI came in, Sprint came in, LDDS came in. So we were selling long distance packages to small and medium businesses.
Wow.
And I remember we were like a sales group of about 40 to 50 people in the sales team. But we had different levels of packages. So like I was handling small and medium, so $0 to $2,000 billers.
Got it.
Meaning small businesses, right? Then there was another group that did 2,000 to 5,000, which
Fortune
was
500, whatever.
Yeah. So so I was part of the smaller team now. And my motivation to excel was to not wear a tie. Right? Because I hated wearing a tie when I work. So I said, if I sell so much, nobody can question what I wear.
Right.
Right.
True,
so
true.
my motivation was not money. My motivation was not to get the highest
the
paycheck. It was the outfit. I said, I'm going to sell so much that I don't have to wear a tie.
Right, you can't fuck with my outfit today. If I wear a denim jacket and whatnot.
So I would work, I would work Saturday, Sundays because that's when small and medium business owners are working.
Correct.
They work on weekends,
Yep.
right?
There's no holidays and every day counts, really.
And number 2, I concentrated with the Asian businesses because I was the only Asian in the whole office.
No way.
So not many, there are not so many small and medium business that were started by Caucasians or
Right. They're all minorities. per
mainly
se.
minorities,
Right.
and primarily from what I saw was Asian market, right?
Okay.
So that was perfect for me.
Yeah. And you're the only guy.
And
You're
I was the
technically
only
monopoly.
Asian there, right? So
Wow.
parang it was perfect that
Right.
I targeted that segment.
Got it.
So I narrowed down, it's like you narrow down your market.
Mm-hmm.
And I narrowed down my market and said, I'll have better success selling to other Asians than trying to sell to a white guy.
Got it.
Diba?
Where you gotta be different. The style is different.
Yeah, the style's different. And of course, iba yung white to white person or black to black person or Asian to Asian person,
Sure.
right? So I had huge success with closing accounts with the Asian market. And I was, for a few months, I was number 2
Wow.
in the sales grid out of
Wow.
the 40 to 50 people that
In
we
the whole Houston area.
No, for our office. For
Oh,
our
wow.
office, yeah.
Oh, that is crazy.
So nobody was questioning that I wasn't wearing a tie anymore.
That's an amazing motivation. But this rings a bell with me because in my first startup, guestlist.ph, I did that during college. It was my thesis. And what that does basically is get people to the guest list of clubs. Mm-hmm. I knew I could talk. I didn't know how to sell. So I joined this company called Groupon. And I was exactly doing what you're doing, SMEs and whatnot. And that's when I realized also that, man, I can sell. I can persuade. For you, what was your formula in selling? Because there's nothing, if you master the skill of sales, you can sell anything per se, really.
Well, you have to believe in your product first.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be something tangible, something that you believe in. Mm-hmm. And number 2, you have to be sincere. Because if you're not sincere, people see through you.
Right. Smell the bullshit.
Yeah. So either, you believe in what you're selling and you honestly feel that you're helping the person.
Sure.
Then, being sincere, it'll make it easier for you to sell a product or a service.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what in terms of tactics and strategy? Like, for example, me, as I grew along, I've seen a lot of salespeople do this where it's a shotgun approach, spray and pray. Me, it's more, I was like, you know what? I need to qualify. And when you said, I don't want to wear a tie, you know what? The picture that came to my head was Jordan Belfort of Wolf of Wall Street. All of a sudden, we go door to door. Yeah. But what I learned through that movie was precision. Mm-hmm. I don't care. Some guys will take 100 shots, go home with 10 or 9. I want to be in 10, I'll close 9. But I want to make sure that these are all, in Filipino words, sure ball, right? You want to be sure ball, right? You qualify your leads by making sure, are they a decision maker? Do they have the money? Do they have the interest? Because if not, don't waste my time. I'm not even going to talk to you, sorry. But for you, what was your strategy like? Because for you to be a top seller, there's a formula to that. It's not chamba.
Well, I had to try to understand their, where they were coming from.
True.
And also I wanted to understand, like, if they were Korean or they were Japanese or Filipino or what. So I had to try to understand also who I was talking to or who my audience was. Okay. And then from there, just be yourself. I mean, if you try to put too much fluff, it's not a good thing.
Got it.
Sometimes you get lost in what you're saying because you're trying to say so much. And also, it's important to listen to them. Yes. Sometimes they're saying stuff and you're not picking it up when in fact you can use it to help close a deal, right?
Exactly.
So, don't just be concerned about what you're going to push or what you're going to tell them, but also think of what information you get from them that can help you close a deal.
Absolutely. And I agree because sales pitches, to be honest, are not pitches. They're conversations. A lot of salespeople that I've seen would try to hammer down, go through a whole spiel, don't care what they're saying, I'll finish this, and they think that's done. If they're impressed, oh, are you interested? Sign now. No.
Yeah.
You have to converse. First of all, you got to ask.
Yeah.
By asking, this is my style. This is my trade secrets. By asking, you're qualifying them. You're getting them to get a talk. And now you see the weak spots that you can actually penetrate. If not, then you're doing a one-size-fits-all approach. And then God knows what's going to happen after that. Now, after this, Paco, how did you go back to the Philippines? What made you decide to go back?
Well, my dad said it's time to come back.
Okay.
And he said he wanted me to help with the family business.
Okay. And the family business was?
Cable TV.
Cable
we have
TV.
Cable TV systems in the provinces.
Which provinces?
Batangas, Quezon, and Zambales.
Wow, that's a captive market right there. And this is it was just in the 90s where
We started in the 70s, actually.
Wow.
So my dad is known as the pioneer of the cable TV industry in the country.
Oh my God.
So that was the business that helped put me through school, and
This is prior to the sky cables and
Yeah.
whatever, the signals and whatnot. And it started in the South. How hard it was, because it's not like Manila where everything's literally it's so compact where cables can run through several neighborhoods in just a span of kilometers. Here we're talking about long real distances where you got to put literal cables on to get that TV out. How hard was that, Ryan?
well, let's say our franchise was based on per city.
Per city.
Yeah. So when you, let's say, get Lucena City or you get Olongapo City, you're looking at that area only. So you set up an antenna system and you run like you said, run a cable down.
True.
So that was when the analog days, we would pick up signals from Manila and then relay it through a high antenna. And then the signal would go to the cables.
Got it.
That's how cable TV started in the US. Yeah. And
it's just like a normal TV transmission, but you're just putting in premium channels. Is that the?
no, it's like let's say San Francisco or New York or Houston, Atlanta. Those are the key cities.
Right.
But everything outside that, they don't have a cable. They don't have a TV station.
Right.
So the signal of that TV station can only go a certain radius. But if you put up an antenna which is about maybe 50 or 100 miles away, then you can
extends it.
Then you can pick up that signal and then rebroadcast or resend the signal to
Similar
the cable.
to those Wi-Fi stretchers that we now have, because some parts of your house is not being reached. Something like that.
Yes.
All right, now let's take a break, and when we come back, let's talk more about how you helped your dad with the cable business and how Carmen's Best was born. But more of that after the break. Hey hustlers, let's take a quick break from the episode to talk about a big mistake I did early in my own hustle as a startup founder. And that's going all in on my startup without having any other source of income. Now you might say that's weird because we talk about going all in a lot in this podcast, but allow me to tell you what exactly happened to me early on. Back in my first startup called Party Foul, I resigned from my day job thinking that I'm gonna get funded when I started winning pitching competitions, because I thought I was gonna get funded very soon. But the reality is, it took me 3 years to get funded, and I was very broke during that time. And just because I wanted to go all in, I didn't take any side hustle. And the bad thing was, I was dependent on my startup for my survival while I was trying to grow it. So I ended up getting a lot of bad deals because I was desperate. So in my next startup, which is Chatbot PH, I made sure that I'm not going to make the same mistake. So I got into the art of freelancing. By making enough money on the side to make ends meet, it allowed my startup to flourish and get acquired in just 12 months after I put it up. But that wouldn't happen if I didn't get paid on time. And there's one product that I relied on heavily to get paid easily, and it's Payoneer. Payoneer saved me from a lot of hassle because it's the fastest way to get paid, especially if you're doing freelancing. And the cool thing about it is that it goes straight to your bank account, so you don't have to worry about your money getting stuck in a wallet somewhere. So whether you're a freelancer, e-commerce seller, digital marketer, or any hustler that requires B2B payment, I highly recommend that you use Payoneer to get your money. So register now and go to Payoneer.com or download the Payoneer app on the App Store or Google Play. Alright, let's get back to the show. Welcome back from the break. We're still with the founder of Carmen's Best. How would you properly call your position? Founder, CEO, head?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about. I don't.
Yeah. Titles don't
Doesn't mean anything to me.
So I'll just call you founder of Carmen's Best. But prior to the break, Paco, you said it's time to come back, and you had to help out in the cable business. What year was it when you went back?
I came back in '93.
93.
Yeah.
So this was the day where Nickelodeon was king. This is the time where I grew up.
Yeah.
Cartoon Network was
Yeah,
king.
that's
I there's so many fond memories that I got because of cable TV, because that's all we had.
Yeah.
What was your role back in the business? Because this was such a necessity back in the 90s or up to the early 2000s.
Yeah.
That, if you had cable, you were a cool dude, and all your kapitbahays will go to you.
Yeah.
So we can watch Keenan and Kel or whatever. Right?
I had to learn the ropes, of
Okay.
course. I wasn't brought in to be a boss. So
Okay.
I came in and I had to learn the different parts of the business. And then, so I slowly moved my way up.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what was the first roles, and how did you move your way up? Was it sales by default because that was what you're doing from the States? What was the early roles?
Well, I touched a little bit on sales, but not so much. It was more the other aspects of the business,
Okay.
whether it was building a cable system.
Wow.
Or
So really operations.
operation side,
Wow.
working with suppliers, checking certain equipment. So it was very technical, but I'm not an engineer, so
Exactly.
I had people help me with that.
So what were
aspect.
those early challenges for you, and what skill sets did you had to acquire to be good at what you do?
Well, the company had been running for the last over 20 years at that point, no? Because it started early 70s.
Right.
So, there was already a corporate culture, and I had to sort of toe the line and follow, how things are being done and all that. So, it wasn't difficult or anything. It was just, a system that I had to learn.
Okay.
And I had to find out how they were doing things in the
Okay.
company of my dad. So that's how it was.
Because the reason why I wanted to ask is I've seen also in certain companies where there's heirs in the whole system, right? And the heir wasn't there from the get-go. I've seen some resistance from the staff.
Yeah.
Did you ever had that, and how did you combat that resistance from them?
Well, when you say from the start, I mean, when the company started, it was early 70s.
Right,
I wasn't even 10 years old.
Yeah.
So, talagang the second generation will not be really active
True.
yet. No? Like when I started Carmen's Best in 2011, which was about 8 years ago.
Right.
How old were my kids then?
Yeah.
Right. So Carmen was not even 13, 14 years old.
Right.
So you couldn't really expect them to come in and
Right.
help out. But I guess it really also depends how the son of the boss, the SOB, the son of the boss or the daughter of the boss comes in, and how they treat the staff. Diba?
COO, child of honor.
Child of honor, there you go. How they treat the staff, how
Right.
they're able to sort of, come in and not really rock the boat so much.
Exactly.
Diba? So, there's always going to be a little bit of
Sagawar per se and whatnot.
rift,
Yeah,
but then
right.
at the end of the day, it's really the personality of the
Yes. You have to win them over
second
and
generation.
get that respect as well. Because if not, it's gonna be a very rocky. It's borderline imploding.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna why am I gonna follow this COO?
Yeah.
Child of honor.
And
Right.
they'll also think that that you're there to take their job. So
exactly.
If you make it clear that if they teach you what they're doing, it's not like you're gonna replace them or something. Or they're gonna be let go.
True.
I mean, there's always a place for good people in a company. Diba? So whether they're in accounting or in operations or what have you. Number one for me is the attitude.
Yes.
So if you have somebody who's a smart ass, it's hard to have them in the company.
Sure.
But if you see somebody who's, a team player, willing to do what it takes to, get the job done.
And humble.
Yeah. So, there's always a place for good people.
Okay, now when you said you climbed up the ranks, you started doing operations. What was the end role when you started now doing Carmen, and how did Carmen's Best come into the picture? Because I remember you told Joyce in her podcast that you started doing that and you had no prior culinary whatever. How did you even do the ice cream thing? Like, what were you doing?
So I was already baking for my kids. I was baking cookies, baking brownies, and fudge and all that. So in terms of the baking or the preparation or cooking, I had a little bit of experience. Although I didn't take any classes or anything, but it wasn't too foreign for me.
True.
Parang it wasn't intimidating at all. Parang, hey, I can make good cookies, I can make good brownies. I'm sure I can make good ice cream. So it's one of those things. And I just learned how to make ice cream watching YouTube.
In YouTube?
Yeah.
Which specific channel, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't even remember. I mean, there was just like
random videos on videos.
We're talking 2010 because we launched 2011, but I was already running tests 2010.
Wow.
So there was not a lot of videos that we could choose from.
And not high quality either.
Not high quality. But now there's so much that you can, so much content that you can go through.
Got it.
But at the end of the day, it's how you're able to adjust it to how you want to make it.
Okay.
So you'll get the basics of how it's done, and then you just sort of tweak it here and there, and then to make it to how you want to make it.
What was the first flavor ever, and how did that come about, and who was the first tasters?
Well, of course it was me. I was a first taste tester. But the usual chocolate, strawberry, vanilla was the first three flavors.
Now. Okay.
Very boring, no?
No.
But when we launched, we didn't launch with the three flavors. Yeah, when we launched butter pecan, salted caramel, malted milk, and Brazilian coffee. That was the first 4 flavors I came up with. So when I first came up with our first 4 flavors, people were like wondering, "Oh, you don't have vanilla?
Right.
You don't have chocolate?" No, this was our first.
This is
flavors.
it, right?
And they were like, "Wow, that's weird." I said normally you do strawberry, chocolate, vanilla, but for me these were these flavors are close to my heart.
Why?
Well, butter pecan because I grew up in the South.
Dirty. Shout out.
There's a lot of pecan trees in Texas, and I grew up eating butter pecan.
Yep, dirty South there. Mm-hmm.
Brazilian coffee because my first favorite flavor with Häagen-Dazs was the coffee ice cream.
Yes,
which they don't have anymore.
Sucks. I don't even know where to buy Häagen-Dazs here anymore. Back then there was a Greenbelt 1 stand at the corner. Right beside my mom's office, always. And that's also on the other side, there's A&W. Yeah. That same strip. I was so happy to be there. Yeah. Right. And then, what are the other 4? Other 2?
The other 2 was malted milk, which, growing up in the 70s, we used to eat Horlicks, the tablets.
Horlicks.
But when you grew up, it was more Ovaltinis.
Yes.
The tablet, right? So, but my generation it was Horlicks.
But it's the same product, more or less.
It's not the same product, but it's the same tablet type.
Got it.
So parang you'll act like you're dying, and then you pop one, and then you become strong again. Right? Well, I mean,
your sugar rush kicks in. You won't be able to sleep. Right.
Yeah. And what was the last one? Brazilian coffee, butter pecan, salted caramel. Salted caramel was we were the first one to come up with salted caramel.
No, true. And now it's common. Even in coffee, there's fucking salted caramel.
Everybody has salted caramel. Right. But in February of 2011, we were the first one to launch salted caramel.
What came with that concept? Because I was very confused when I first started. Like, what the fuck is a salted caramel? But holy shoot, this is good, right? Yeah.
So the salted caramel was a recipe I found in the book where I get a lot of my recipes. It's called David Leibowitz. A Perfect Scoop.
A Perfect Scoop.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll put that in the show notes if you want to check it out.
A Perfect Scoop. So there was one recipe that intrigued me, and it was a salted caramel. So we made that, and I was like, wow, my God, it's really good, So,
Yeah.
so those were the 4 flavors we came up with first, and then later on we started adding more flavors.
Wow.
Yeah.
But okay, I remember also from the Joy Spring podcast that you mentioned that you had excess milk. Can you talk about that? What was that milk from? Is this a different business and whatnot?
Yeah. So my dad and his friends put up a dairy farm in Bai, Laguna.
Wow.
They put up a dairy farm.
Okay.
So we worked with the NDA, the National Dairy Authority,
Okay.
which is part of the Department of Agriculture,
Okay.
where they bring in cows from New Zealand, and then we would
Like literal cows alive?
yeah, cows.
Those ones that were seen in the
black and white cows.
Wow. Because our cows here are either brown or white and they roam around.
And they're not dairy cows. We don't. There's no dairy cow in the Philippines. That's why you have to bring it in.
I did not
The
know
cows that you
this.
see are for fattening or for meat.
So,
Yeah.
they end up being food.
Yeah.
Got
Yung
it.
amin is really for dairy.
Got
So a
it.
dairy cow,
Okay.
you feed it the
For the-
proper feed,
Okay.
and its body is built to make milk.
Got it.
Cow for fattening, you feed, and
Yeah.
it'll make itself bigger
Bulk.
for the meat.
So that
Yeah.
it will become wagyu or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
No, so its meat will
Alright,
get
alright.
more.
I did not know this. Okay.
Yeah. So they put up a dairy farm in Bai, Laguna, and we were trying to sell the milk, fresh milk.
Okay.
So they weren't able to sell it fast enough because you have to milk the cows every day.
Correct.
And
The shelf life wasn't too long.
1 week,
See?
1 week to
Right.
1 week to 10 days.
Wow.
So they were throwing away a lot of milk,
Oh,
and they said,
man.
"Oh, you should do something with this milk. Sayang, it comes from the cow."
How
you know.
much volume are we talking about?
At that time, we were doing maybe 400 to 600 liters
What?
a day. Yeah,
That's a lot of
yeah,
milk.
yeah. But then there's 18 million people in Metro Manila.
No, I understand, but still, if there's an excess of just a couple liters, that already feels bad.
Yeah.
Right. What more if it's at that scale or whatever?
Kasi I don't think Pinoys understand the value of drinking fresh milk because we don't really have cows in this country.
Right.
Whereas you see a Filipino who grows up in Australia or
Sure.
New Zealand or the Netherlands or
That's
in
gospel
the
for
US.
them.
You drink fresh milk
Right.
and look how big they are. They have the same genes as we do, but they drink the fresh milk and they're much bigger than us.
Right. Because also, what's commonly available is the soft drink, it's the coffee, it's the whatever.
Well, for the milk, it's UHT. And UHT is just made from powdered milk.
Got it. Exactly.
So it's
Nido
very
or whatever.
different.
I'm not
Yeah.
trying to name brands, but this
Yeah.
is what I grew up on.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just 5'6".
Yeah.
Imagine if I drank milk
Fresh
early
milk,
on, I'm
yeah.
probably 6'5".
That's what we have now. We have fresh milk now.
Got it.
Which a lot of people don't understand that if you feed your kids, say 2 servings of fresh milk a day,
Okay.
it changes the bone development.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Because
That's why there's
don't-
Kai Soto, this really tall kid from
we don't
whatever.
dilute our
Wow.
milk with
But
water.
like for me, since I did not grow up with this, I am lactose intolerant. Screws me up all the time.
Yeah.
That's why whenever like, oh god, this is gonna fuck me up so
Yeah.
bad. I'm gonna
Well,
regret this.
being lactose intolerant it's more of an Asian gene. It's not because you didn't drink milk.
God.
But there are people I know who didn't drink milk growing up, but they love drinking milk now.
No, I love to. It's just that on certain days, especially if I'm drinking on an empty stomach,
Yeah.
screws me up every time.
Yeah.
The worst stories of my life
Yeah.
happen because of fresh milk, and I drank it with an empty stomach. My God, I don't want to talk about it. But yeah. So okay, going back. All right, we took a really nice sidestep, like James Harden on that one. But Carmen's Best, you had a lot of milk in the dairy farm, and you were still doing the cable job.
Yes, I was still doing the cable job.
Okay, now how did you know they had something special with what you made out of that ice cream?
Actually, I didn't. I didn't like the idea that my dad put up a dairy farm. I was like, why are you going to put up a business that's so different from what we're doing?
True.
Like, why
That's
don't you
night and day.
Yeah, it's like
Right.
night and day, right?
Right.
So why don't you just get into a business that sort of complements what we have already? Like to make use of our subscriber base,
Got it.
and
Yeah.
also on. But no, he put up that. So I was very much against the dairy farm
Got it.
initially. But 1 year after operation of the dairy farm, my dad comes into my office and says, "Can you help me sell the milk?"
Okay.
because he knows I'm good at selling stuff.
Yep.
So, of course,
So
I
you-
said, how can I say no to him?
Of course.
Sure, I'll help you out, Dad. No problem.
Okay.
I go to the farm. I open the door of the car, and it's like the smell of the cow dung just hits me. Like, oh my God. Like, what the hell am I getting into?
Good morning.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh my God, man. So, but now I don't even smell it anymore. Parang
Right.
it's normal
You're
for me.
immune to it
I'm
now.
immune to it now.
Right,
you know.
right.
But I realized that you should be open to things. Because had I remained close to the idea of getting involved with the dairy,
Yeah.
there would be no Carmen's Best today.
Right. Thank God for those cows from New Zealand.
Yeah. So, so one of the things that I talk about when I give talks is don't be close to new things,
Okay.
because you never know what it will turn out to be.
True.
Had
Give it
I-
a chance,
yeah,
a
give it
real chance, right?
So I'm glad that I sort of opened myself to looking at this other business and what we could do with it, and we ended up coming up with the ice cream.
Got it. Now, all right, how did you do the balancing act, right? And how did you take that decision? All right, sorry, Dad, I got to do this ice cream thing. What were the metrics or what were those signs that you look for that it's time to jump ship?
So the first 2 years of operation, from 2011 to 2013, we didn't have a marketing plan. We didn't have a 3-year or a 5-year plan. We didn't have anything. We were just selling it. We were just selling the product.
Where were you first selling it? Sorry.
We didn't know where it was going to go.
Got it.
In fact, our idea was to just sell it from the house and to sell it within the village, within Ayala, Alabang.
Wow. Okay.
But then we weren't selling it enough.
Okay.
We were still throwing a lot of milk out, meaning we weren't able to sell the ice cream enough to compensate for the throwing of the milk.
Got it.
So I figured I have to sell it in other places other than my house.
ATC.
Yeah. No, we
Just
went,
outside.
Yeah, we went to
Molito.
we went to Chitwan.
Which shit one?
Chitwan is Echo Store.
Ah, the one near. Wait. In Serendra,
Yeah.
right outside
So Serendra-
across Market.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we went to Echo Store. We talked to Chit, and then they were also opening a franchise in Centris, Echo Store Centris, which is on EDSA corner. Quezon Avenue.
Yeah. Where the Laser Max was before.
Yeah. So we started selling there, and Facebook was just starting,
Right.
And we were using Facebook a lot to push our product, and social media was really ramping up at that time, and parang they were in need of content, and parang we were the content. It's like MTV when MTV
You're the
started.
marquee.
Yes.
Okay.
When MTV started, Duran was all over the place.
Right.
You know what I mean?
George
Parang-
Michael,
yeah,
boom,
George
whatever.
Michael, yeah, so they kept
Right.
on playing their videos, and so our content was going around, and people like food, they
Right,
like ice
right.
cream. So when they tried naman our ice cream, they would repost it or like spread the word, tell their
Right.
friends and family. So we really grew. Through social media, because it's not like we had any print ads or TV ads or anything like
Yeah.
that. So
How did you know that it's time to tell? How difficult was that conversation with your dad saying, "Papa, I gotta go"?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I remember when I would come home from work from the cable business, and then I would have to make ice cream at night for the
Right.
delivery the next day. Initially, I would finish at 8 or 9 p.m. Because it's not like we had a lot of ice cream.
And you
to-
were doing the ice cream yourself.
Yes, I was doing ice cream. I
Wow.
was doing it myself.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And
Because
then
we didn't hire anyone because we didn't know it was gonna grow.
right, it was just a mom and pop whatever
It was
thing
just
that
like
you're
we were
doing,
just
right?
playing around.
Yeah.
right? Because we were doing it to use the milk.
Right.
Right? It's not like, we have a 3-year business plan and this is what we're going to go. We need this number of people. We need to get, it wasn't anything like that.
Yeah.
But then when I started making ice cream at like midnight to 1 a.m., I realized that our volume was starting to grow.
Right.
And it just so happened that one day I went to mass. I was running a little late, and I was in the back part because people were seated already.
Right.
And this guy leans over to me and says, "What new flavors do you have?"
It's not peace be with you.
I don't know if it's divine intervention or like, who is this stranger?
I think that's
asking
Saint
me?
Jerome talking to you.
Yeah, so parang it hit me like,
Right.
wow, this total stranger recognized me for
Wow,
one. Number
that
two
is
is asking me about what flavors I have. Maybe I
Nice.
should take this thing seriously.
Okay.
Meaning take it on full time.
Yeah.
And I remember it was around mid 2012.
Wow.
And so I said, I better find me the best place to study ice cream
And where did you find that?
in Penn State.
Penn State in Pennsylvania.
That's right, because that's where Ben and Jerry studied.
Wow.
And they have a class there that's called the ice cream course, and they have it once a year, and they've had it for, well, I'd say about 130 years now. They only missed 1 year when there was a World War II.
Wow.
But the rest, they've had it every year.
Roosevelt, this is your fault because
So
Right.
so I attended the class in January of 2013. But I had already told my dad that I was going to do the ice cream.
What was
full-time.
his reaction?
He was happy with it because I was going to do something that was going to solve his problem of throwing away milk.
God.
Meaning I was going to buy the milk from him.
True.
Diba?
Stays within the
Yeah, so
family.
yeah, sure, go ahead. By all means, do it. So
Okay.
he was very supportive of me,
Okay.
and as they say, the rest is history.
But before we take a break, let's take another one. Why is the name Carmen's Best? You could have chosen your other two sons. Why Carmen?
I wanted it to have a woman's name.
Okay.
I definitely didn't want to call it Paco's Best because nobody would have bought it. It'd be sitting on the shelves, right? But when you say Carmen's Best, you think of like
Right.
an older woman.
True. I thought,
A
yeah.
recipe of an older woman who's making it, and
Didn't know it was a dude.
it was a dude, So yeah. So
All right.
at the end of the day, it's how it tastes.
Okay, and it's the name stuck. It's perfect for what it is. But again, let's talk about that. The next step that you took to now run Carmen's Best to what it is and pay it forward to all our hustlers listening. But more of that after the break.
Effective automation is the best way for businesses to stay competitive. And having a chatbot for your business lets you easily automate and optimize sales, marketing, and customer service in the digital age. Chatbot PH will build, train, maintain, and market your chatbot across all messaging platforms. Our team uses the latest AI technologies to enable you to better serve customers 24/7, 365. Set a meeting with us today. Message us now at m.me/chatbotph.
Hello, show. Welcome. What's up, hustlers?
Hustlers.
Hustlers. Yeah.
Sorry.
So you might have just heard from Ron. We are the Hala Hala Show. We're part of the podcast network Asia.
I'm JC.
And I'm Rika.
So,
Why should you listen to us?
I know, man. Just kidding.
We just talk about random stuff.
we talk
man.
about random stuff. And if you just want something fun and sometimes informative na hindi mo sure kung totoo o hindi.
There you go. We're hustlers too, so check it out. It's called the Hala Hala Show, and we'll see you there.
Bye-bye.
Later.
And we're back from the break. We're still with Paco Magsaysay of Carmen's Best. Now we know why Carmen's Best. It would have been nice if Paco's Best. Maybe you can do a spin-off, Paco's Best.
I'm actually coming up with a second line of ice cream.
Okay.
It's good that you sort of mentioned that.
All right.
But since we moved our production facility to Laguna Technopark,
Oh.
kasi we're halal
Ah,
certified.
so there.
We deal with a lot of airlines.
Nice.
So now that the house is free again, we can start another ice cream line. But this one has alcohol.
No.
And this line of ice cream is called J&M Specialty Ice Cream. So it's named after my two other sons,
There you go.
Jaime and Mikey. So
There you
I
go.
don't drink alcohol,
Right,
but when
right.
I eat the ice cream, it's got soul.
Yeah.
It's got character. I don't get drunk eating the ice cream
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the alcohol content is not so much.
But it has a buzz to it.
It's got a little buzz.
Nice. And what type of alcohol? Are we talking about Macallans here? Or
No,
whatnot?
we use one
Rum?
is the Kahlua coffee.
Kahlua.
For the rum, we
Right.
soak the raisins there for the rum raisin.
Oh, wow.
So we use also brandy. So we use different types of alcohol for different flavors.
Perfect. And that's it sounds perfect because I'm now into my titohood.
Yeah.
And before in Friday night, we're talking about I'm in the club, I'm getting lit, I'm getting fucked up.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking about, okay, let's have a good conversation. Right? The significant others, the girls are having wine. I'm having either beer and whatnot.
Yeah.
But that'll be a good mix, especially here in the South where the thing is, you go over to someone's house, eat, chill, Netflix and chill, whatever
right.
have you.
Yeah.
Okay, now going back, Paco, you mentioned that now this is something that's scaling. Let's talk about the next step, because a lot of what you did prior cannot be acquired because you're talking about different subscribers and whatnot now, and this is this. How did you adjust to that new role, given that, again, you took the Penn State course, but the business side, let's talk about what are those early challenges you had to overcome?
Well, when you talk about early challenges, it's really difficult starting a new business.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't have any name recall, and nobody knows you that you're doing that, and it's a lot of hard work alone. So if you're the type of person that needs people praising them every minute or every hour of the day, don't be an entrepreneur, because you're gonna spend a lot of time working alone.
You're gonna doubt yourself a lot too.
You're gonna doubt yourself a lot. You're gonna think, why
the hell did I do
get into this? But it really depends what motivates you.
True.
And for me, I think the fact that I named it after my only daughter, and it was so connected to me. The brand was so connected to me that had the company failed, it was a personal failure. I saw it as a personal failure. So I did anything and everything to get it up and running.
Correct.
If I had to work 16 to 18 hours a day, that's what I would do. If I had to work 7 days a week, I'd work 7 days a week.
Wow.
So I wanted to out-hustle everybody out there. So that's what I mean, that you're working and nobody sees that you're working, but you're working. Right?
And you're not after the praises.
You're not after the praises. I mean, you just got to get the job done.
And it's bigger than you and whoever.
Yeah.
Right. Now, how did you equip to build this team? Because you said, they always say, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But you want to go far, you have to have the team.
Yeah.
Right? How did that transition happen? What were those key hires or key people that you had to bring in?
Well, the first person I hired was a food tech.
Food tech.
Because you needed somebody who had, technical knowledge of the food that you were...
FDA compliant stuff and all that?
Yeah, to help coordinate with that and everything. So the food tech that we hired was our number one employee.
Wow.
And, from there, we just hired people based on need.
Okay.
So when the volume got a little bigger, we had to get an operations logistics person. When we needed to move to a plant, we had to hire a plant person.
Wow.
Diba? So, as the need came about, that's when we hired.
Okay.
And as much as possible, you don't want to...
So, okay, when you mentioned that now you have this and you had to scale, what part did you automate? Because of course you can't do all of those things hand in hand, especially if you're preparing for scale, right? What were those early things that you had to automate or delegate or with minimal supervision to do things at scale?
Well, the production was the first that I sort of let go of because I had to be on the selling side more. I mean, mixing doesn't need a lot of expertise, or chopping doesn't need, which I was doing before.
Yeah.
Like we chop the nuts. We don't all chop it the same size.
Right.
Half of them is chopped smaller and the other half is chopped bigger. It's all these little things.
Right.
All the attention to detail that makes Carmen's Best what it is. So that you can train.
True.
Right? But then when you start talking to a chef from the Grand Hyatt, or you start talking to people from Philippine Airlines,
right,
that's hard to train. I can do that. So that's what I do.
Right.
So for me, stick to your strength. So if your strength is selling, then stick to selling.
True.
You might need to dip and help in other parts of the business,
right?
Because it's not like you have a full team. But your main thing is selling. That's your number one thing.
Stick to your go-to move.
Yeah, stick to your go-to move.
Right.
I mean, why do you have to, take a 3-point shot when you're not a 3-point shooter? Diba?
Exactly.
So stick to your strength.
Right.
And then you hire to complement your weakness.
How do you now hire the right people? Because again, there's so many. That's also what's confusing, especially for first-time entrepreneurs. I'd be like, oh my God, all right. Especially, I know I'm good at sales, and it's worse if you don't know what you're good at yet at first. Because now you're like, who the fuck do I hire, right? Or you think I'm good at that, and then a lot of people I also see is that, okay, but I'm gonna hire, but I'm gonna they have shackles because you dip in too much and whatnot. How did you find the right people to help you in this journey? Of course, yeah, the skill set is one. Easy to pick that, identify that thing. What are the core values you're looking for?
Well, I want to see if I get along with them first.
Okay.
Kasi if I'm gonna be working with them, I have to sort of get along with them.
Right.
So we must have sort of common goals that they're goal oriented.
Right.
They're not hungry for being acknowledged all the time. Parang you can leave them alone. You can trust the fact that they're doing their job. Without hovering over them.
Right.
So I think when you meet with people a few times, kasi more often than not, these people have jobs.
True.
It's not
You
that
gotta
they're
poach
not
them.
working. Diba?
Right.
So when you're gonna poach somebody, you have to make sure that there's a good chance that you will keep this person.
Of course.
A higher likely chance that you will keep them, because
Yeah.
you can't get them and after 3 months say, it didn't work out, so goodbye. You can't do that.
Yeah.
So once you get them in, once you sort of offer them a package for them to join you, then you better make sure as much as possible that you get along with them,
Correct.
that you have common goals and everything. So I guess it's more understanding human behavior.
Yes.
And the fact that I was in my mid-40s at that time, mid to late 40s, I'd like to say I had enough years under my belt to know,
to identify already
to
a
identify,
good
yeah. I
a
mean, I
good-
wasn't like
yeah.
a 20-year-old guy that was looking to hire people, and I was clueless as to what are the warning signs or whatnot. I mean, I'm not saying I was 100% correct.
correct, but you had a good hunch.
I had a good hunch,
Right.
and for the most part, I go with my gut.
Yes. And
Your gut's normally right. If you feel that there's something wrong, there
no,
normally
don't go.
something
Yeah,
is. Yeah,
that's
so-
true. And that's what also said in our season 2 premiere. I learned that from Ron Hose, that you know what, if I have a need, I don't care if it takes too much, a lot of time, but I'd rather hire the right guy rather than fill it up, screw my team culture with a bad egg, and then everything falls apart. 'Cause it's very, very important as well.
One person can make a huge difference.
Oh my God, yes.
I mean, good or bad.
Yeah,
Good or
and
bad.
can change the whole complexion of where you're gonna go as a company, regardless of the North Star.
Yeah.
Now the next question I wanted to do: marketing and selling. Is this your go-to move? This is your strength. How did you scale Carmen's Best? Now that you're not in the prod, you're at your comfort zone and you're out there on the prowl.
Yeah.
How did you do in order to keep partnerships to get this done? Because you couldn't compete with the Nestle's, but that's not the direct competition. But there's the Haagen-Dazs or everywhere. There's also premium ice cream. How did you position it to scale at this rate?
Well, you have to sort of, how do you say, pre-qualify the people that you'll approach.
There you go. Sales 101.
Yeah,
That's my
so
style too.
when you pre-qualify, either you'll choose them based on low-hanging fruit, like who are the people that
easy
you can,
ones, right?
who are the people that you can get in immediately. Or number 2, if you already have logistics going to Serendra and to Quezon Avenue corner EDSA, what
Right.
are the other accounts I can get in that area?
Yes.
Diba?
ABS-CBN. Oh, that's nearby.
So
right.
parang for that certain radius, what are the accounts you can get there? So that when your truck delivers,
Yes.
there's more drop-offs to
it's a
to
more
work on.
productive trip
Yeah, it's a
rather
more
than it's a
productive,
one-off.
yeah.
Right.
So those were the things that I always had in mind. I remember distinctly we had one account that was doing so well. They were selling, I think, 60 or 70% of our volume.
Okay.
And it got me worried
Oh.
that this person might one day come to me and say, I want this, I want that, and I
Right,
want,
right.
you know,
Wanted to flex and whatnot.
yeah, and
right.
I couldn't flinch
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he's doing 60 to 70% of my volume.
Right, right.
So I remember thinking that I need to lessen the impact of this person. Should this person ask for extra?
Right. So you're preemptive in what
Yes,
how did
yeah.
you do that?
So I started getting more accounts.
Ah.
Para yung 60 to 70%, bumaba ng 40 to 30%. Because the other accounts sort of balanced everything out.
Yes.
So if it came to a point where that one account, which was so strong initially, starts saying, "Oh, I want a bigger percentage for
you
me."
can take the hit because
I can
there's a
take the hit.
buffer.
Yes.
Got it.
So yung mga ganon, you always have to think of a worst case scenario.
True.
If your big account pulls out, if your big account starts asking for, some
Right.
special considerations, then how are you going to handle it?
Correct.
Right?
And never ever rest on your laurels, because that's the scary part when your whole business relies on a couple.
Yeah.
And then boom, that goes away. That's where the blood loss really leads to death, and you got to be preemptive in what you do. In terms of going nationwide, and you close a big thing. You're in PAL, man.
Yeah.
So how did that deal even come about?
So with the PAL account, we were already in the market for a good 4 years by that time. And there was a changeover of ownership from Ramon Ang to Lushotan.
Oh, yeah.
So when Lushotan bought back PAL from Ramon Ang, all the Magnolia was thrown out the door.
Right.
Because Ramon Ang is...
You can't bring over your San Miguel stuff anymore.
Yeah, no more San Miguel stuff in PAL, right? So the PAL people called me because they were already eating Carmen's Best. They were eating it for Sunday lunch and whatever. So they knew about it.
Right.
It's not like we were a new product. We've been in the market for 4 years. We've won certain contests. We've been coming out in the newspapers.
Wow.
People were buying it. Said, can you supply business class? I go, yeah, sure, I can supply business class. So that's... And then tamang-tama, the Pope came to the Philippines. And then we were the ice cream that the Pope ate in his charter flight going back to Rome.
Do you know where I first tasted Carmen's Best?
Where?
In the plane.
Okay.
Going to San Francisco.
Kasi you ride business class.
No, I do not. I do not. Here's the thing. I booked for coach.
Yeah.
The flight was overbooked. Some asshole. So I went to hey, you're sitting on my seat, but it's we are on the same thing. We had the same ticket.
Yeah.
It's okay, but you take this. And then the FA goes don't worry, sir, we have something better for you. Yeah. They bumped me up to business class.
Yeah.
I have never flown business class before. And then I remember eating. So they sent me, what bread do you want? Brioche? And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I don't even know all of these things. But and then they gave me Carmen's Best.
Yeah.
Top of my net. Shoot. 14-hour felt less pain because I had piece of home with me. And my God, after that, I was just shit, I got to have this. No, I cannot afford business class.
Yeah.
Holy shit. No. Yeah. So that's how I first did it. Now, metrics. Now, I want to talk about numbers. You came from selling to ops to now doing F&B. Those are different metrics you had to deal with. In Carmen's Best, what are those numbers that you care most about? Without divulging too much, because somebody might be listening here, but what's the metrics like, especially now in this growth stage that you're in?
My biggest concern is we got to keep the company moving.
Okay.
And we have over 40 people in our payroll.
Wow.
And, these people have families.
Right.
So whether it's if sales are declining or if our costs are going up or, I have to I have to keep the company moving.
True.
Because of all the people that are relying on the business. So sometimes it's an issue of lack of a certain ingredient or a supply or
COGS.
Or problems with the groceries because it's getting more difficult selling in the groceries. So it's not just one thing that we're looking at or one part of the business, but sales could be down, but if it's still
balances
better
out,
than others, so
So that's overall health, technically.
Yes, overall
EBITDA.
health of the company.
Is it that's what you look at, right? Not the we work EBITDA. That's crazy EBITDA. That's a big fuzz now of how we work looks at their EBITDA prior to do their IPO. Okay, last few questions before we let you go. What's your secret in achieving your goals? This sounds so cliche and whatnot, but from a salesman to a salesman, right? You said motivation. The first one was you just didn't want to wear a tie.
Yeah.
Right? And in the second one was different. Now it's different. How do you keep yourself going to achieving what you thought of as your North Star?
Well, I have a very I have an underdog mentality. So I always feel that I'm not good enough or I am not like I feel like I always have something to prove.
You're chasing.
I'm always chasing something.
Right.
And I'm always hungry.
Got it.
And
hence the ice cream as well.
well, hence that's why we keep on growing, because I don't stop moving.
Correct.
So, I mean, I would have met you on a Sunday if I had to.
True.
So for me, I don't look at days off. I don't look at, like, it's supposed to be a holiday. Why should we work? Or, it's a Saturday or it's a Sunday. I mean, if it has to be done, I'll do it. And you just have to be intense about it. And
True.
I know it's not a very Pinoy thing to be intense.
No.
And
People don't get it.
And people don't like intense people.
True.
So
True. That's why a lot of people, especially in sales, the ones that have been there, they're a hate him or love him kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like it's like, this guy's mayabang, hambog, whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, we're not.
But sometimes the mayabang guys, they don't really get to sell a lot because they rub people the wrong way too, so nobody buys from them.
Correct, but people oftenly mistake confidence and cockiness.
Yeah.
And there's a thin line. But for me, confidence is saying without boasting and backing it up.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I want to get that, and I'm gonna get it. Just confidence. I'm not trying to, hey, I'm better than you, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Once you start comparing, and that's being an asshole. Right. But for me, it's like, you know what? I'm going to buy my mom a house one day.
Yeah.
And I wasn't secretive about it. I wanted people to know, hey, this is my North Star. I'm going to get it. Right. And I'm going to fucking get it. And thank God I was able to.
Good job.
Right. So that's it. In terms of the flip side on that, how do you step back and relax? Because we all have our own mini escapes. Your cousin or your tito is going to be on the 50th episode, a few episodes from now. He mentioned about
he likes riding bikes and stuff.
Yes, it's an escape, but he realized something. Just watch out for that. The 50th episode is Joe Mag. We have the Magsaysay. But for you, what's your escape to relax?
Well, it depends. I mean, it's hard to answer actually. I don't know. Well, lately I have a small Vespa which I ride around the village. And, it gives me that
thrill.
rush. Yeah. So for me, it's maybe riding my Vespa for 30 minutes.
Wow.
Just to
unwind,
get your mind off
right.
things, and then you get back and you start replying emails again and all that. So I think just do something that you enjoy, and that's not harmful for you, because some people say, oh, I enjoy by eating burgers and steaks. I mean, but then if you're gonna do that, then you're not really helping yourself, because you're eating all this bad food,
Right.
So just do something that gets your mind off work, or just relax and all that.
Okay. Now, in terms of management style, right? As a seasoned entrepreneur, right? You eventually have a formula also that you carry, and how you, treat people, or how you delegate people. What's your management style, and what's your tip for people going through the same process of, or probably the younger ones? Because one thing that really changed me, there's this book that I read. It's called You Can't Fire Everyone.
Okay.
It's for an accidental manager that you should be. It just opened my mind, and now it taught me management in a non-classroom. Yes. It's like, just be human and be how to fire people if you have to go. For you, what was that management style like?
Well, I think you just hit it on the head, where you have to sort of just be yourself.
Right.
So let's say me, I'm a little bit OC. I'm a little bit, I look at the details. So I'll try to find people who are somewhat similar to that.
Got it.
And then I can delegate things to them and know that they're doing it the way how I would want it. Also, be open to what other people say. In fact, I hire people who have more experience than me, who have more experience in logistics, who have more experience in being a food tech, who have more experience in running a plant.
Wow.
Because I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room.
Right.
So when you hear all the inputs that these people give you, you'll have to sort out what you feel you want to do.
Okay.
Diba? Kasi, let's say some of our people are from Magnolia.
Yeah.
and they're used to doing things a certain way,
Right.
which they got used to doing in Magnolia.
Right.
Our ice cream is nothing like Magnolia.
True.
So if we're gonna start doing things the way they're recommending,
Then it's gonna be Magnolia.
then we'll be Magnolia. Diba?
Right.
So sabi ko, no, I mean, I want to hear what you guys know, and
Right.
then I'll mix in what I know
Yeah.
or what I think, and then we'll come up with a way. But I'm not gonna shoot you down because you're recommending a certain way.
Correct.
Or I'm recommending a certain way. I mean, I'll still listen to you.
Right.
But you need to get the input of people who are more, how do you say, experienced in doing what they do.
Wow.
Diba? So you have to be humble enough to say, you got to eat some humble pie.
Yeah.
And
Bitter majority of the time.
but what
Right.
can you do? I mean, if you feel that you're the smartest guy in the room and then you know everything else, then you don't need people. Then just do
Correct.
it on your own.
And people don't want to work with people like that too.
Yeah.
The most I've had so many entrepreneurs in the show, and every day I'm blessed to be interviewing you. And the common denominator is that you're all humble. That you're just the one pointing the North Star and asking the question, hey, would you want to come here? What do you need to get this done? Help me out. This is where we're trying to go.
Yeah.
Right? And those things. All right, last two questions. What's your secret in learning new stuff? I've seen what a transformation you've done. Like your UPS and all these things, it's selling telco stuff, cable to ice cream.
Yeah.
What's your secret? Because you always seem to reinvent yourself, and these are all completely new paths.
Well, I think
well.
with the ice cream, it was something that I really enjoyed.
Okay.
So I like eating ice cream, and it brings back a lot of good memories. And
Right.
So I think if you get into something that you enjoy, it's easy to be busy with it. Meaning you're researching stuff about it. You're
Yeah.
trying to take classes on how to be better at doing it. It's so parang
It doesn't feel like work.
you're not working because
Right.
you enjoy it, right? And trying out new flavors and this and that. So when you do something that you enjoy, it cuts down the feeling that it's work,
Right.
and it makes it easier to be better at it.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, and last question. What's your secret sauce? I mean, there's always a secret sauce. Like, I'll come clean. My secret sauce through everything that I've done is whenever and I've learned this from Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street. The component of selling that people often overlook is you have to be likable. And the way I become likable, and people don't know this, but it's a science in my head. There's a formula. I gotta make you laugh. Humor is my secret sauce. I don't care if it's self-deprecation. Once I get you to laugh, you're hooked. Money, that's it, right? But for you, what's your secret sauce to all this journey? Because you've been successful at 3. All these things. If there's some struggles, yes, but there's got to be the secret sauce.
Well, I think I never put money as the goal. Money was never the goal.
Got it.
Like when we started Carmen's Best, I didn't have an idea like, we have to make X amount of sales per month for us to, or we needed to make this much money. I mean, if I was so concerned with the cost or how much money we make, then maybe my ingredients wouldn't be so expensive and it wouldn't taste that way.
Right.
So for me, it's just seeing the bottom line in terms of, are we gonna make this company run or succeed or not?
Got it.
So do everything to make it work, right? So it's not really selling so much or earning so much or acquiring a certain material asset. It's more about making the business run and growing it. That's it.
That is amazing. Again, thank you, Paco. Appreciate it for again.
Thank you so much.
I was so impressed with the Joy Spring episode. I'm more impressed now, given that we had it. I hope you had fun.
Thank you.
This is amazing. But again, Paco, what's next for Carmen's Best? And invite over people to, if they're hungry as we speak right now, when they're listening to this, where can they find the new Carmen's Best? If they have flavors and what do they do?
Well, we have our shop in Power Plant in Rockwell.
I was just there yesterday.
Yeah. What did you have?
No, I went through Rockwell. I didn't get to drop by because the area on the other side, the escalator where your area is, it's being fixed.
Yeah.
So I have to go through the grocery side and park nearby. So unfortunately, I wasn't dropping by. I know where it is.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have milkshakes and sundaes there.
Oh my God.
All. But here in Town Center, we just sell the ice cream and cups.
Right.
We're gonna be opening hopefully before the end of the year in UP Town Center.
UP Town, my God, that's like Alabang really in flip side of north.
Yes, we don't have any presence there right now, so it would be nice to touch base with our customers there.
Got it. Online, can they buy any Carmen's Best and whatnot? How do they get this?
Our website, carmensbest.com, you can find all our resellers there. So you can find out which is the closest reseller to you.
There you go. Check it out, and if you're not hungry by this fucking episode after this, there's something wrong with you, man. Okay, so again, thank you for being here, Paco. And again, thank you again to Launchpad Co-working in Alabang. Check them out. They have really, really nice offices and whatnot. We're at the Commerce Center branch as we record this. And again, if you guys want to check out the show notes, go to hustleshare.com. If you want to see who's going to be interviewed next, go to the Hustle Share community on Facebook. And if you have any questions or any kind of first tips that you want to get, message us on our Hustle Share chatbot powered by ChatbotPH. Go to m.me/hustleshare. And lastly, don't forget to support Pinoy podcasters. Go to podcastnetwork.asia. And just like Hustle Share and all the other awesome podcasts, we have to help out Pinoy podcasts and listen to them because they also provide a lot of good value. So, okay, thank you again, Paco. Appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Oh, shit. Peace.